To you. It is 8:01 on a, what is today? Today is Wednesday. It is 8:01 on a Wednesday morning. I'm West 2 First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk, where we get together just about 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. And in terms of a day like today, you get to hang with me in the car. I am in busy mode because I've got, let me tell you about my morning real fast, and then we can get to the weather, of course. Take the kids to school, then doing coffee talk from the parking lot of the school, then grab Eric to do Meet the Teacher, then take Eric back to his daycare, last day of daycare, then run over to Wesh and do some newscasts. So little of this, little of that. The taxi cab, I hear, happens so often in parenthood, that has kind of officially begun. So good times. Good times. Wouldn't change it for the world. Anyway, let's talk about the top two things that we are monitoring. First off, there's a first time for everything. An excessive heat warning issued for the Orlando metro area. We'll be discussing that. Plus, how long does this dangerous weather last? We're going to be discussing that, looking at the 7-day forecast. Lots to discuss. Lots and lots and lots to discuss. But before we do so, let's just take a live look outside. There's a beautiful shot out into Tavares. The sun is shining. The temperatures will be climbing. Nothing to see on our first warning live Doppler radar. But look at where we are in terms of temperatures right now. 84 degrees in Orlando. It's 82 degrees in Melbourne, 82 degrees New Smyrna Beach, Iga Vault, 78 in Ocala. So the forecast then for the next couple of hours, 92 by 11 o'clock, 96 by 1 o'clock, and 98 degrees. That's our high temperature. 98 degrees today at 3 o'clock. Is it going to be another very, very hot day? Absolutely it is. Remember, I was telling you about that heat advisory that had never been issued before for Central Florida. There it is. An excessive heat warning issued for the Orlando Metro. Never before has that happened. Never before. They started using that advisory back in the 1980s. Today's the first time that the metro area of Orlando has had it, and as a matter of fact, I need to clean my glasses here. And it's only the second time that the National Weather Service office in Melbourne has ever issued it. Their first time being yesterday. That was down for the Treasure Coast. So yes, this is particularly high heat. Now, what is the criteria for that advisory? That advisory dictates that you have to get an instantaneous heat index of 113 or higher. To say it's very rare in Central Florida is an understatement. It's happened a couple of times, like Marion, Flagler counties. But today is the first time that that's ever happened in the metro area. Now, I have to say this, like, I just love, and I will read to you an email that we got today because I'm just amazed. Okay, an email that we got. Please report the actual temperature. The heat index is just a made-up number. I don't believe the actual temperature has ever reached to 110 plus degrees in the last 75 years. Stay with the truth. Now, if the National Weather Service office is issuing these sorts of advisories since the 80s, it's the truth. There's no political agenda with the National Weather Service. Their sole responsibility is to protect life and property. So I'm going to go with that. Also, we're in the midst of the hottest air of the season. Yesterday was the hottest temperature that we have gotten to in Orlando. We hit 99 degrees. I'm not saying it's the hottest day ever, but yesterday was the hottest day of the year. And back on August 7th was the previous hottest day of the year. That was 98 degrees. So, yes, we're in the dog days of summer, but it's not just the air temperature that factors in. You have to factor in the humidity. And as I said to this guy in his email, I said, you ever hear the term but it's a dry heat. Yeah, this is the opposite, right? Like a dry heat makes it a little bit more tolerable. This is the opposite. 98 our high temperature in Orlando today, 97 in the Villages, 96 in Ocala, 95 in Daytona Beach, 95 degrees in Titusville. But what about those fake feels like temperatures? Hashtag that are not fake. Let's take a look, okay? And by the way, there's not really much excitement in terms of rainfall today, but we can look at that. All right, so it feels like temperatures on Futurecast. Let's just go to 11 o'clock. All right, take a look around Central Florida. Feels like 109 at 11 o'clock in Orlando. Feels like 111 in New Smyrna Beach. Feels like 113 in Palm Coast. Let's just keep going. Feels like 116 in Palm Coast, 115 in Melbourne. 1 o'clock feels like 117 in Palm Coast. And no, these are not made up numbers. If you're curious, here's the heat index formula. I'm so glad that I've got this graphic made just so that I can show, like, that is something you do in college and then you forget and you cry yourself to sleep. It's a real formula. It's overly complex, but the overall idea is we've got computers that calculate it, and because we hit that criteria, here we are with those advisories. Okay, so today, dangerous heat across all of Central Florida. All right, questions before we move on and chat about things. All right, Becky says we almost melted last night. Yeah, 100% get that, right? Can you calm my nerves about the jet stream collapsing? I've had nightmares the past 2 nights about it. Why? What are we talking about the jet stream collapsing? We're good. The jet stream is screaming. It's well north of us, but it's screaming. Like it was a couple of days ago, it was at like 160 knots. So you're fine. The jet stream is still a thing. Yeah. Janice, my house temp said 109 yesterday afternoon. I hope that that's outside and not inside. These are the feels like temperatures, though, today. And again, we're getting to 110. We're getting to that dangerous category. Yeah. I checked. Steven says, I checked the temperature at 10 p.m. last night and the feels like was 100. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's true. And that's, I just laugh when people are like, it's fake news. Bro, there are peer-reviewed documents on this. I just never will understand why people look, you want to get into like politics and you want to call each other out, do that in a different venue. But like weather is data. And the heat index, the wind chill, these are real things that have been around since the 70s. Just saying. Trisha, good morning. I'm doing okay. How are you? Becca says, holy cow, are you serious? It has nothing to do with like people thinking that I'm lying. I think that it has more to do with people thinking that like that's made up. That's not made. I don't just pull those numbers out of my tuchus. You know what I'm saying? That's what I just have to laugh about. Oh man, oh man, oh man. All right. Feels like temp at my house was 1 million. Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. Lisa, my son had soccer practice yesterday, 3:30 to 5. He was not well after, that's for sure. I have been drinking like a Gatorade to 2 Gatorades, and I'm not doing much outside. I mean, it's seriously dangerous. Yeah. Cassandra's asking, when's the cool down? Not October? The problem is if we look at the 7-day forecast, the latest model data has kind of backed off from cooling us down much. Like, take a look. 98 today, 97 tomorrow, 98 for Friday, Saturday, 97 Sunday, Monday. Maybe by Tuesday, we'll start to raise those rain chances sufficiently to where we can cool things off, relatively speaking. But obviously, that's not cooling things off like at all. We're not talking about cool temperatures there. We're just talking about temperatures less above average, right? For today, let's look at the record highs and the forecast, okay? We're again going to be in the ballpark. Orlando, forecast is 98, record is 99. We hit record yesterday. Sanford, forecast is 98, record is 99. We hit forecast yesterday. Leesburg, you see, we're within a degree or so of most of our records in Central Florida. Daytona Beach, it's a possibility there as well. Melbourne, your record is 98. It's a possibility there as well. So, yeah, it's true. Daniel says, my food truck is borderline unbearable. Oh, yeah, I get it. Seth says, this isn't hot. Houston, Texas is hot. Okay, couple things there. Snarky, cute. This is hot. Okay. Is someplace possibly hotter? Sure. But this is hot. And let's just look for a minute at current temperatures. Now, I understand Houston, Texas is a little delayed, but it's 84 degrees in Orlando right now. Seth, it's 84 in Orlando. It is 82 today, right now, in Houston. Yeah, Houston's forecast high temperature is 102. But their heat index value gets to 110. What does our heat index value get to today? 113? So it's cute when people say, like, that's hotter. Sure, there's different metrics. There's different ways to look at things. Our heat index value, though, probably gets hotter than Houston's. There's that. This isn't hot. Perspective is everything, particularly in science. You can torture the data to get whatever you want. I have no flippin' agenda. I'm sitting in my car in my kid's daycare parking lot trying to get the word out about weather. I'm not over here I promise you I'm not making money. My sole income stream is my full-time employment with Hearst Television in West 2. I have no jobs in the emergency medical profession where people getting heat stroke will benefit me. I don't. I'm quite frankly trying to do the opposite. Steven says it's too hot for coffee. Now that I agree. I'm only drinking hot coffee this morning. I will switch to iced coffee later this afternoon. Yeah. Janet says people believe in wind chill factor, but not the feels like temp. I mean, the feels like temp it's also called the heat index. We oversimplify it, and they're both just called feels like. But wind chill and heat index play into it. Yeah. Another note, what's going on with the hurricane predictions? We'll get there, Tara, in just a couple of minutes' time. Yeah. Justine says, oh, my son has marching band camp next week. Marching night band camp next week. Well, Justine, I'll be doing the forecast for the marching nights. I always do. Go like the marching night Facebook page. Have your son like the marching night Facebook page. I will be doing my forecast, as I always do for the marching nights. Yeah. Yeah, at least it looks like the heat backs down a little bit. And I could tell you, I know Kaiser and Schreier very, very well, the two top dogs over there. They take care of everybody. I promise you. And I will personally reach out to both of them if I have to. Not that I have to. They know what's up. All right, let's see here. Shauna says, this is hot for Florida, sir. This is hot for anybody. You know, if you just look at the advisories, to get the color pink on this map, you have to have a heat index value. You have to have a heat index value of 113 or greater. Notice who's not. Like, I love when people are like, no, Houston's hotter. They do not qualify for an excessive heat warning. The rest of Texas does. But these are all the areas. The areas in pink are basically the worst of the worst. Oh, you can't even see the map. Sugar. Sorry, there it is. Yeah, Houston doesn't qualify for an excessive heat warning. They're under a heat advisory. So there you go. Ah, boy. The heat index on my weather station yesterday said 116, but I thought maybe it was wrong, but maybe not. Terry, let me tell you something. I mean, this is... I try to figure out a way to not anger people. I try to think of a way to not, like... be, what's the word I'm looking for? Like I don't want to, like the person that was shouting about the heat index is a made up thing. It's not. But I try to figure out a way to tell the weather in a way that even the people that think that wouldn't get mad. Like, right? Like I try to take the Dolly Parton approach to broadcasting. And so I just try to oversimplify it. So here's my oversimplification. Forecast temps are near records. This is the worst part of our summer. It is bad Florida summer cranked up a little bit. Like these are the ways that I'm trying to explain this kind of a forecast, because that's the truth. That's not making it up. That's none of that. That's just what it is, right? You see forecast temperatures that look like this, no matter how you slice it, that sucks. Like that's just the bottom line. That's where we're at. Yeah. Tim is asking, no Epcot today? Tim, I'll tell you, I was at Epcot on Monday and I wanted to die afterward. I think I'm still trying to play catch up with my electrolytes. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Is this the hottest it's ever been in Florida? No. I mean, in some cases, like Miami has hit. So here's the problem is we have empirical data going back in terms of like high temperatures, but I don't know where I can get historical data on feels like temperatures. Heat index values, dew point temperatures. I have not found that database. Miami hit their highest ever heat index yesterday, but I've got to go off of other data sources for it because I can't calculate it myself. But I mean, I would just say this, like, just another oversimplification. When you look at my heat index graphics that I've made, okay, like let's just look around a little bit. You see how that 112 is cut off? That's because I didn't really ever think we would get that high. Like we get close, but I never really thought we would get that high. Leesburg, see how 113 is cut off? I didn't build the graphic high enough. I'm not sitting here saying, my God, the world is ending. Like that's 114 and it's cut off. I'm not in Melbourne. I'm not saying the world is ending. I'm just saying that when I built these graphics, having decades of forecasting in Florida, I just never really thought it would get that high. It's getting that high, right? So, okay. I do need to try and work with the National Weather Service to see if they've got a database that has, dew point temperature, that way I can calculate that stuff. Either way, though, this weather's terrible. Yeah. Anne Marie says you have over 300 viewers. Hi, everybody. You're getting saucy me. If you're new to Coffee Talk, we just chat. And the boss has not yelled at me for getting too saucy on here, so I get saucy sometimes. No matter what you say or how you do, there's always someone who will get mad, Tiffany says. It's true. I don't want to make people mad, and I don't want people to think I'm making crap up as I go along. That we don't. It's data. You know what I mean? So there you go. Belinda says it's rough being at the parks right now. Seriously, like I said, I was at Epcot on Monday and it was terrible. Yeah. Janet says, feel sorry for the tourists on vacation at Disney this week. Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Fun Spot, the beach, whatever it is, it's terrible. First time ever the Orlando Metro is under an excessive heat warning. Yeah. Carmen, you don't anger people. You state facts. People, unfortunately, live their lives angry. Nothing you did. Carmen, I feel like I need to frame that and put that over my door in my office. Like, if that's not word to live by, I don't know what is. You're bringing wisdom this morning. Good gravy. I was ill prepared for that. Oh, man. Kelly says, for every person that insults you, there are 20 that appreciate you. Thank you, my love. I appreciate that. Steven says, I didn't remember it being this hot when I was a kid in the late 90s and early 2000s. So another thing, though, too, Steven, is like, think about it. Messaging is different. Like when I grew up, I could tell you I was a weather nerd and I watched the news. But the way that the weather people did the news in the 90s and in the 80s and in the 70s and even in the 2000s, I mean, I got started in television in 01. The way we did weather in 01, very different than the way we do weather today. It has nothing to do with an agenda. I swear to you, my agenda is having you to understand the weather. That's my agenda. And if anybody wants to say otherwise, my boss does not tell me how to do the weather. The only guidance I get from my managers is how to tell a better weather story from start to finish. But in terms of this is just sharing data, right? I can tell you in 2001 when I started doing weather, television weather, we reported on the heat index and all of this. But, you know, it's kind of one of those things. Technology and computer graphics have gotten better. And now we're to the point, it's 8:21 on a Wednesday morning. I'm sitting in my car broadcasting from my kid's daycare parking lot in a two-way communication line. And to me, that is kind of the epitome. I know epitome, but that's the epitome of technology playing favorably, is that we can have a two-way communication. Debbie points out you have to pregame electrolytes with this weather. It's so true. It's so true. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate it. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. All right. Enough about our heat. Any other questions before we move on to the tropics? Any questions? I'm going to go through these comments here. I apologize. You're an alarm clock this morning. Elizabeth, good morning to you. Julianne says there's no point in even getting in the pool. The water is worse than my bath water. Really? Listen, my pool is like 87. I mean, it still feels cool. It's not cold, but it still feels cool. It'll still cool my body temperature and my core temperature down, which is what I need. You hush your mouth there, Chris Pierce. Thank you very much, Becca. I appreciate it. Cheryl's asking, son feeling better? Yeah, allergies just ended up bopping his ears with an ear infection. So there's that. All right. If there is nothing more from the heat, let us talk a little bit about the tropics. All right. Let's see here. How about posting Denellen temperatures? Robert, we've only got, listen, not going to make everybody happy, Robert. You know what the Denellen temperature is going to be? Basically the same thing as the Ocala temperature. On a day like today, we aren't going to go county by, we're not going to go every teeny tiny city, because the more focal point is just the broad stroke. Denellen, you're probably going to be like 96, 97. Ocala, 96. Weirsdale, 97. All right, in this case, we're just going to have to play a little extrapolation. All right. Tropics. Nothing going on. Now, if you joined Jeremy and I for our Tracking the Tropics feature yesterday, you saw that we're in a quiet stretch for now, but looking ahead, more than likely the end of August, things are going to be picking up. Computer models, let's dial that in. Of course, I have to sign in. All right. Give me a second to get this dialed up. Okay. All right. So broad strokes, but here's a look at the wide shot on the GFS. Didn't really have anything yesterday. Looks like nice wave, what have you, kind of center of the Atlantic. Nothing really organized. Nothing really. Yeah, I mean, what is that? That's Saturday, August 19th stuff. Couple of features here. Look at that. So that's 18Z. So you're looking at 2 p.m. on Monday, August 21st. I count like 3 little blue dots out there in the open waters of the Atlantic. Might have some stuff to track there, kind of Fujiwara, something in the main development region, maybe something out in the Gulf of Mexico, another wave coming off the coast of Africa. That's August 25th. So I think that all of this is playing out in that same note. Now let's switch over. Let's look at the European. A whole lot of nothing. Nice little coastal storm there. That's around the 11th. One model run back to get outside of 90 hours. Nothing of note. Oh, there's something there. Look at that. That's August 18th, whereas the GFS on the 18th has nothing. So the European is actually a little more bullish, interestingly enough. Look at that. European kind of showing a couple of storms out there. That's the 21st. Interesting. With another wave coming off the coast of Africa. So the European, definitely more bullish in terms of the computer models, looking to the tropics. Interesting. What say you, friends? Anything interesting there? You see that? What do you think? You know, the most important thing, though, as we look at that, is that for now, the tropics are nice and quiet. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Very interesting. Huh. Mike, today's temperature hot as insert choice words here. Yeah. Oh boy, let's see. After your history using these programs, do you feel like one is more accurate than the other? Tiffany's asking, oh, regards to the computer models. I mean, each of them have their benefits. Each of them have their weaknesses. I use both of them. That's all. Mickey over on YouTube says King Euro. Will be interesting to see. Will be interesting to see. Chris says the Euro is channeling the GFS. Yeah, yeah. It seems that way, doesn't it? Ryan, it's clear mostly for the month of August. It is. But we know that's not going to completely stay that way. But it is interesting. It's like a little trippy for me, if I'm honest. It's a little trippy for me to see the European model dialing up stuff more than the GFS because I'm just so used to the GFS doing the goofy stuff. You know what I mean? But I guess that's the way it rolls. All right. So tropics quiet, though toward the end of August, it does look like things are going to start to heat up in the Atlantic. Hopefully nothing threatening us, though I think September may be a busy month for us. Okay, so there's that. Back here locally, though, we're busy in our own right just tracking the heat. All right? Feed your chickens ice cubes to prevent them from laying hard-boiled eggs. That's funny. Linda, that's funny. I'll take that. Oh, man. Oh, man. Bo says, bring on the winter. I'm sick of this swamp butt. Yeah, there's that. There's that. All right, people. Listen, enough. It's 8:28. Any other questions? John, question. Any hurricanes elsewhere in the world? Yeah, but I don't have the graphics built with the right satellite channels to go and pop up other sectors. But yeah, there are other stuff. Debbie, do you think the heat index will stay this high for the next 2 weeks? You know, weather is Earth's attempt at a balance, so it's really difficult. It's really difficult to get that playing out for that long. So I don't think so. This is the worst of summer though right now. That's where we're at, period. Yeah. Tiffany says no winter yet. I don't want to cover my plants. I just got a bunch of new plants installed at my house, and what I don't want to have to do is to worry about covering them. Yeah. Terry, have a good day. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Julie, I'm wondering how New Smyrna would be today. Busy. Get in the water, it'll cool you down. Yeah. What do you think how the winter will be for Florida? Ryan, I'm not even through summer yet, man. I'll get there. Like El Nino typically means a stormier winter for Central Florida, so we'll have to watch things. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Janet says, and I love this for a final thought. Janet says, we can't complain when it gets really cold in January. That's right. Remember that. 98, 97, 98, 90. Remember this 7-day forecast. When it gets cold and everybody complains. Okay? All right, listen. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I have no idea what newscasts I'm doing today, but I'm doing some. And we'll do another Coffee Talk deal at 3:30. Sound good? Sound good to you? Sound good to me? All right. Be the sunshine, y'all. Take care.